Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Cyrano. Welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new to the channel, I truly appreciate you for coming through. If you're already a part of the crew, definitely appreciate you too. But let's just jump right into the video. Make sure you subscribe, get notified for more videos just like this. But today we're going to be taking a look at the most top ridiculed devices, budget devices in 2021-2022. So let's just jump right into it. Now the first device we're going to be talking about is the LG Stylo 6, and this is a 6.8-inch display on board with a 4000 milliamp hour battery, headphone jack, stylo pen on the bottom for taking notes and things of that nature. So you could definitely, basically get to your different pen features and stuff like that. But this is a really nice device. It has spring-loaded pen features, dual speakers on board. Type-C as well, a button right here that you can use for your Google Assistant. We also do get your volume rockers right here. Nice camera setup arrangement with a 13 megapixel around back, 13 megapixel around front. It's coupled with a wide angle camera as well on board, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage as well. You also do get a 5 megapixel for portraits and a 13 megapixel for selfies. But overall, it's going to be a pretty cool device because people said it was pretty slow and it didn't live up to the hype of the Stylo series. But I thought it was pretty cool. It did have good speakers, really huge display, and a nice pen to play around with. That was pretty cool, and a headphone jack too, which I thought was pretty cool. But one of the things that was really nice about this device was the screen. A lot of people said that the fingerprint sensor was slow as well, and sometimes that does happen, but overall I definitely like this device, and I thought it was a pretty good budget device. The next device we're going to be talking about is the Moto E7 Plus, and this was a really nice budget device, but some of the things that it did lack was Type-C charging and a dual microphone. It has one at the top, but it does have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack at the top, but no microphone at the top. But you get this really nice textured power button with volume rocker and a button right here for your Google Assistant, which is kind of cool. And then on this side, there's actually nothing, fingerprint sensor on the back as well. But Snapdragon 460 6.5-inch TFT LCD IPS display on board. We also do have a 20:9 aspect ratio when it comes to this device, so it's going to be nice for the scrolling speeds. Also water drop notch, medium density display on here with 4 gigabytes of RAM coupled with 64 gigabytes of internal storage. But I did like the performance of this thing. It just seemed to actually get from point A to point B really quickly. So that was one of the things that I did enjoy about using this device and stuff like that. So a really cool budget device, was definitely ridiculed because of the hardware. They should have had a Type-C on here, but I did like the fact that this thing does have a 48 megapixel coupled with a 2 megapixel for portraits, 8 megapixel on the front. So it did take some pretty decent photos and even had some nice camera features for dark. I think this did have the dark mode option on board, night vision, which was pretty cool. So just a really solid budget device for the price. Now the next device we're going to be talking about is the N100 from OnePlus, 6.52-inch LCD IPS display with also a Snapdragon 460 on this thing, as well as a 13 megapixel around back. It also does have a 5 megapixel around front on here. So actually on the front, it's going to be an 8 megapixel camera, but when you power it on, you got the power button down below right here, volume rockers on the other right here on the other side right here to the left, and you get your SIM slot for removing it down on the side. Type-C for charging and dual speakers on board with a microphone and a headphone jack at the bottom, as well as another microphone at the top. But this phone is ridiculed because it didn't have stabilization on the video, and sometimes when you walk, the footage would show up like kind of bouncy and stuff like that. So a lot of people didn't like that feature, that it did do that. But overall, it did have a really nice, sturdy feel in the hand, a matte back finish on the back of here. doesn't really rock whatsoever. Fingerprint looks really nice on this thing as well. So just really solid overall build quality. You know, the OnePlus logo on the back and right here on the bottom. So just really nice overall design. And it does have a nice battery size on this thing, which is pretty cool. 20 by 9, 720 by 1440, 247 for the pixels per inch. You know, 90 hertz display on this thing as well. And, you know, 64 gigabytes of RAM coupled with 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 as well. So definitely a really solid budget device that was ridiculed for the price. Now, the next device we're going to be talking about that's the most ridiculed device is the new G5. And this is a budget device coming in around $150, but, you know, pretty much for the money. It was a pretty solid offering. 6.5 inches, 720 by 1560 HD plus display on here. 16 megapixel camera around back, coupled with an 8 megapixel wide, 2 megapixel for portrait, 2 megapixel for macro, as well as a configuration of 64 gigabytes of ROM on here and 4 gigabytes of RAM. So definitely a really solid overall design. It had a plastic body on here, so it did kind of feel a little bit cheap and lightweight in the hand. And you also do get for the processing chip, it's the A25 on here. So I just want to mention that. The buttons also did feel a little bit cheap on here. They didn't feel too solid, but you know, when you press them, they did, you know, they did have a decent click on them and nice feedback. I like how the camera is intruded all the way into the phone. Really nice solid build, but it really didn't live up to the hype because, you know, there were other phones for this type of money that you could pay for, like Samsung Galaxy A series, and still get, you know, decent performance. This does have the SoC A25, like I mentioned, with 1.8 gigahertz octa-core, 12 nanometer processing speeds. You know, Power VR GE 8320, you know, so with the 4 gigabytes on board and 64 gigabytes of ROM, it was kind of decent. It wasn't the fastest in the entire world. There were some slowdowns here and there. Not the brightest panel, but one of the things that I did like is that they take really good photos in the daytime. And it does have some pretty decent cameras on board, so not the best ones I've ever seen in my entire life, but you do get wide angle mode on here, which is cool. And they do give you night mode on here as well. So just a lot of cool modes that you could play around with. Super HD as well. So if you did like camera modes, this one does have slow motion and macro camera. Also QR code scanner, which is definitely pretty cool that they did offer that. But you know, overall it was ridiculed because, you know, there were other phones that people just said would probably be better than it without even, you know, kind of testing it out completely or whatever. And, you know, it doesn't get like as many updates as like the other budget devices that are in the same price point, like Samsung, Motorola, and you know, things like that. Now the last device we're going to be talking about is the Motorola G Power 2021, and this device was criticized because it didn't get dual speakers, and also it didn't get 4K mode like the phone before it, which was the Motorola G Power 2020. So a lot of people just counted it out, but it did get a bigger, different camera module. It did get a bigger display, 6.6 inches LCD IPS display on here, 19 by 20 by 9 aspect ratio as well on this thing. So just a really solid panel when it came to the size and everything. Side mounted fingerprint sensor on here with a volume rocker right above it. On the sides you get the expansion of the storage, Type-C for charging, microphone below, and you also do get your speaker as well as headphone jack at the top with a microphone as well there. But you're gonna get 8 megapixel on the front, 48 on the round back, and the camera sensor is gonna have a 2 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel portrait as well. You also do get some pretty decent speeds on this thing with the Qualcomm Adreno Snapdragon 662 with the Adreno 610. And a lot of people like this device, and it even the best thing about this device is it does have Android 11. It just got that kind of late into going into before even the new year came. So it was like a Christmas before the new, but came right before Christmas, which is pretty crazy. So that was a nice gift. But these are the top, 5 most ridiculed devices in 2021 going into 2022. Budget devices under, pretty much $200 right now. So let me know down below what you guys think about these devices, and which one you think is the most ridiculed out of all of them. And let me know which device you have as well. But I definitely appreciate you for coming through. Make sure you subscribe, get notified for more videos just like this. Make sure you hit the bell icon as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I'll get right back with you. I'll see you guys in the comment section right now. I'll check you guys later. Peace.